Good morning and welcome to my YouTube channel. It is bright and early and I'm gonna make a veggie omelet for breakfast. So let's get started. 7:50. So I've already got my ingredients out. I already have my 2 eggs cracked here. I have minced garlic that I'm gonna put in here. I have my spinach, tomato, chopped onions, chopped green peppers, and I love frozen green peppers and onions because I use them in so many recipes. I have my olive oil and my butter to get my omelet nice and crispy and tasting good, and then a little bit of cheese to go in the middle. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the burner going so I can add my butter and my green peppers and onions. I'm gonna let those go ahead and start sauteing a little bit while I chop up my spinach and tomato. So I just have that set on low there a little bit, and I'm gonna let that do what it does. I have my food chopper. I'm gonna go ahead and slice my tomato up into smaller portions for it to fit in the chopper. And I'm gonna throw my tomato and spinach in the food chopper to get it nice and chopped up to go in the omelet. I don't like big pieces being in my omelets, and spinach, it cooks down really good anyway. So I'm just gonna throw these, like I said, in the chopper. So I'll toss my tomatoes in there. Got those pretty chopped up pretty good. My spinach is already washed too, by the way. I prepped my ingredients before, so I'm not gonna add too much at a time because my food chopper is small. I cook for just myself a lot of the time, so I'll go ahead and add that in like that. Put the lid on. And you can see how nice and chopped up that is. Perfect to go inside my omelet. Take the lid off of this. It always takes me a minute to get my food chopper off. Go ahead and add my onions and stuff though. And sometimes I do use like fresh onions and stuff like that. Make sure my eye is down low. I love onions and green peppers in my omelets. Like, absolutely love them. A big piece came out there. Also, please make sure you wash your hands before cooking. If it's just you, go ahead, do you, but cleanliness is next to godliness. So my hands are already washed. My produce is already washed. And I love a colorful omelet, and I love, that looks a little weird. I love green peppers and onions, like I said. So I'm gonna let those cook in the butter. Add just a tinge of olive oil. I don't want them to cook too fast before I add the rest of my ingredients. Gonna go ahead and throw in some of my minced garlic here, or chopped garlic. Growing up, I used to eat breakfast every single day, like a hot breakfast. My dad would get up and cook the whole house breakfast. He still does that to this day. Whenever I stay the night at my parents' house, my dad gets up and cooks breakfast for the whole house. Even when it's just him and my mom, he gets up and cooks breakfast for just him and my mom. I don't feel like wrestling with that, getting it off, so I'm just gonna toss that in there like that, so I can add the rest into the chopper and get it nice and chopped up. Ooh. My omelets are very juicy and big, and 2 eggs still is enough even with all these ingredients. So I'm gonna add the rest of the spinach. And I like adding the spinach in with the tomatoes because the juiciness of the tomatoes helps to get the spinach out a little bit easier, whereas if it's just spinach by itself. So I'm going to add the rest of my spinach. Grab this spatula here, rinse this off really quick. Y'all, this is already looking really good. And it smells amazing. I don't really do too much seasoning on my omelets because the green peppers, the onions, the tomatoes, everything comes together and forms a really good flavor on its own. So I don't really use too much like seasoned salt, pepper salt, anything like that. I just kind of let my veggies do what they gonna do, you know? So I got that in my food chopper. Add my tomatoes in. I'm kind of making a mess this morning, y'all. Like I said, it is pretty early. Throw this in the trash. Put my lid back on here. I wish y'all could smell through the camera. It smells so good. Put those to the side. And now back to my food chopper, chopping up my spinach and tomatoes. Oh, it's so beautiful. Kind of need to get those top pieces down in there a little bit better for them to get nice and chopped up too. Just push them on down. And if everything doesn't get chopped up perfectly, that's fine. So this is gonna cook down anyway, regardless. So like some of these pieces aren't all the way chopped up. That's okay. Take my blade out. Oh, it's so hard to turn. Oh. Okay, like I said, I'm not gonna wrestle with this right now. But I'll have to get it off for me to clean. And y'all, I love spinach and tomatoes. I just love veggies. I stopped eating meat a lot. So every now and again, I'll have chicken, but I'll have turkey, but really no beef, no pork. And you can really feel the difference. Like my body feels completely different, totally different after cutting back on my meat consumption, especially red meat and pork, like I said. Every now and again, I cheat. I do have a steak like once a month, once every 2 months. My dad cooks a lot of ribeyes, so I do cheat sometimes, but I definitely feel the difference. My uncle cooked some pork neck bones for New Year's, and I caught myself trying one because he's a phenomenal cook. And y'all, I had a headache for 2 days. Food should not give you a headache for 2 days. But again, once you change your diet, you definitely can feel the difference once you go back. I'm gonna put this back to the side. And I'm just gonna stir everything in. The juice from the tomatoes, oh my gosh. It just makes it so juicy and yummy. And you're gonna be like, really? 2 eggs is gonna be enough? But yeah, like I said, I like my omelets kind of thick and I don't use too much egg. I might drain some of this juice off. It just depends. It might, let me crank the heat up. It might cook down now that I have the heat up. So while that's doing what it does, I'm gonna go ahead and start putting all my frozen veggies up and the things that I'm done with up, getting them out the way. I do like to keep a clean cooking area, so I always have dishwater in the sink so I can wash dishes as I go. That's just how my dad and me cook. We clean as we go. So I'm gonna put all this stuff back in the refrigerator. going to put all of this in the sink over here. It's out the way for now until I wash the dishes. Well, I'm going to keep this here for me to cook the omelet. Again, so now I just have my butter, cheese, and olive oil still out while I let it do what it does. Look at that. That is so beautiful. And it's going to taste even better. Oh yeah, the tomato definitely has juicy. I'm going to drain some of that juice off just to get my veggies a little crispy. And typically that's how it is when you cook with tomatoes. They add a lot of juice and water because so much natural juice and water is in them. So now I kind of drain some of that liquid off of there. Gonna crank the heat up just a little bit more. And then I'm gonna go ahead and start stirring my eggs, getting those ready to pour in over my veggies. As you saw, I use brown eggs. I don't really eat white eggs. I'm not sure if there's really too much of a difference. I just kind of like to feel more organic and natural with the brown eggs. So yeah, typically I just use 2 eggs when I make my omelets. I also sometimes add a tinge of milk to stretch the egg and give my omelet a more fluffy consistency. Which, since my veggies look like a lot, I am going to go ahead and add just a pinch of milk. I don't drink regular milk. I either drink soy milk or almond milk. I have almond milk here. I don't mind the extra sweet flavor in some of my dishes with soy and almond milk, because soy and almond milk, I get the vanilla flavor. I don't get plain or unsweetened. So sometimes it can add some sweetness to your dishes, but that's okay. I don't mind it, but to each its own. You can use whatever kind of milk. So as you can see, not a whole lot of milk, but you can definitely see. And then I might add a little bit more olive oil too, just to kind of get those veggies a little more crispy. I don't like to use too much olive oil though, because then sometimes the omelet can burn easy. But I actually like a burnt omelet. When I was working at the hospital, the cooks in the morning, they already knew I would want my omelet burned, and they already kind of knew, like, this girl is annoying. Because I would tell them, like, if you cook it a little bit longer, pretty please. So, let me make sure you can see the omelet cooking there. It's really doing its thing. Oh, yeah. And y'all, I'm telling you, the smell, you can smell the garlic, you can smell the onions, you can smell the green peppers. Oh, you can smell the tomato. Like, it's such a delicious combination. And this omelet is like a powerhouse omelet that really gets me going in the morning. Today, I have a lot of stuff to do. It's my birthday weekend. Whoop, whoop. I'll be turning 28 this coming Sunday. So, you know, as you can see, my eyebrows ain't done. My nails ain't done. I got to get my life. So, this is going to last me all day pretty much until I'm able to eat again. I have a little bit of work to do on the computer. So, yeah, it's going to be a long day. So, this omelet is going to give me the energy, the calories, the nutrition and vitamins that I need to have a successful, productive day. So I'm about to add the egg. I kind of just add a little bit of space in the veggies so the egg can infiltrate in all the creases and cracks. And here we go. My favorite part. And like I said, 2 eggs is normally enough because as you can see, all the veggies are pretty much covered. So I just kind of let this do what it does. I don't really touch it for a few minutes because I want the egg to go ahead and get firm on the bottom. Y'all, omelets are like one of my favorite breakfast meals, not going to lie. I absolutely love omelets. Like, absolutely love me a good omelet. So if you remember that commercial back in the day, set it and forget it. I forgot what, I think it was like for a conventional oven. This is kind of how I treat my omelet. Set it and let it do what it does for a little bit. Don't forget it, because it'll burn and you'll jack up your omelet. But definitely just let it cook, do what it does. And y'all, when I say my omelet's about to come out so beautiful, it's gonna be so beautiful. Now, while my omelet is cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and get my hot sauce and my sriracha ready. I love hot sauce and sriracha on my omelets. I get it from my mama, y'all. She put hot sauce on everything, literally just about everything except salads. But I love my sriracha and my hot sauce on my omelets. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that out, which is right at the forefront. Also, bam, my sriracha and my hot sauce. Let me get another plate out since that plate is dirty. So whenever my omelet is done, I have a clean plate to put my omelet on. I can go ahead and put the olive oil and the butter back up. So sometimes I put the olive oil in the refrigerator. Sometimes I put it in the cabinet. It just depends. It really doesn't really matter. If I've used it kind of a lot, or if my house has been kind of warm, I'll go ahead and put it in the refrigerator, because you really don't want your olive oil to get hot or be warm, because it'll expire faster or go bad quicker. So I switch between the refrigerator, and then in the refrigerator sometimes it can solidify. So once it solidifies, I'll go ahead, leave it on the counter for like 15-20 minutes, and then I'll go ahead and put it back in the cabinet for a couple days. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and put it back in the refrigerator. And you can kind of tell once the omelet starts to, you know, you can kind of tell it's not so runny on the top. I kind of just put it to the side so the rest of that runniness can go ahead and, you know, cook down on the bottom. Flipping your omelet can be difficult if you don't allow your omelet to get firm enough. Which I don't really flip my omelets too much. I just kind of fold them over and let them finish cooking that way. But you can kind of see what I mean. That extra egg on top that was just sitting on top there is running off now, cooking. And you could tell the veggies and stuff are firm in the egg. So this omelet is coming along very nicely. It's gonna be a thick one. I add just a little bit of cheese on top, or in the middle on top. That's what I mean. When I cook, I don't do too much cheese on my omelets because I hate a super cheesy omelet. I don't know. It just takes away from the taste of everything else when you add too much cheese, in my opinion. So I just do a little bit, enough to still have it cheesy, but not super, you know, overdone, because I'm not a big cheese person in omelets or my eggs, to be honest. I am getting ready to fold my omelet now. Also, I forgot to mention, so I usually try to wash my produce with apple cider vinegar and cold water. To me, the apple cider vinegar is like produce soap. It really gets those impurities, pesticides, and whatever else may be on your produce off. So I personally like to rinse my produce with apple cider vinegar. And that's tomatoes, apples, any type of fresh produce that I have before I cook. I just like to make sure it's rinsed thoroughly and nice and clean, because the grocery stores will tell you. Oh yeah, see. So I just kind of folded that over like that. And I'm gonna let it cook on both sides while it's folded over. Your omelet may not always come out super pretty, but this one is gonna be pretty enough to get devoured. My dad also loves omelets. My mom, she likes omelets too. So sometimes when I'm at their house on the weekends or whatever, I'll make everybody an omelet. I'm going to add a little bit more butter and cut the heat down, just because I don't want my omelet to cook too fast on each side. I still want it to cook evenly, and I don't want it to burn or stick to the bottom. So I'm just going to add a touch more butter. I'm just going to drop it in like that. It doesn't really matter. And just let it seep underneath that egg a little bit. And then also when I flip it to the other side will be nice and buttery for the other side to cook. Because now I'm going to flip it to the other side. And just smash it down. Y'all, this is going to be so delicious. And I actually could have added maybe one more egg because I do have a lot of veggies. But I don't mind my veggies overpowering the egg and having more veggies than egg, personally. That's just me personally. You can obviously customize your omelet and make your omelet to fit your liking and your taste. Oh, y'all, it looks so beautiful. Look, get into that omelet, honey. Get into it. Get into it. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I love food. So I know I post a lot of information about food. I know I post on my story a lot. So you'll have to make sure you follow me on Instagram. Add me on Facebook. I'm about to get a TikTok. I don't have one yet, so stay tuned for that. But definitely add me on Instagram and Facebook for sure. Make sure you like and subscribe this video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel because I will be posting more cooking videos and just videos about a lot of different topics. So if you want to stay in the loop, make sure you subscribe. So this omelet is pretty much done. It's nice and crispy because I hate a raw omelet. Oh yeah, nice and crispy there. So I'm going to cut my eye off, plop it down just like that, and there you have it, my beautiful veggie omelet.